The law of manifestation clearly explained in declassified CIA document. B. Patterning. This technique involves use of the conscious to achieve desired objectives in the physical, emotional and intellectual sphere. It involves concentration on the desired object while in a focus 12 state, extension of the individual's perception of that object into the whole expanded consciousness and its projection into the universe, which the intention that the desired objection is already a matter of established achievement, which is destined to be realized within the time frame specified. This particular methodology is based on the belief that the thought patterns generated by our consciousness in a state of expanded awareness create holograms which represent the situation we desire to bring about, and in so doing, establish the basis for actual realization of that goal. Once the thought-generated hologram of the sort after object is established in the universe, it becomes an aspect of reality which interacts with the universal holograms to bring about the desired objective, which might not, under other circumstances, ever occur. In other words, the technique of patterning recognizes the fact that since consciousness is the source of all reality, our thoughts have the power to influence the development of reality in time-space as it applies to us. If those thoughts can be projected with adequate intensity. However, the more complicated the objective sought and the more radically it departs from reality sphere, our current reality, the more time the universal holograms will need to reorientate our reality sphere to accommodate our desires. Monroe trainers caution against attempting to force the pace of this process because the individual could succeed in dislocating his existing reality with drastic consequences. Spot the signs of modern slavery. Appears to be under the control of or influence of others. You know, like if you say you're on the dole and you go there and all right, okay. Could have old or serious untreated injuries, you know, like because you're waiting 3 hours for an ambulance and die. Is the person withdrawn or appear frightened or intimidated? You know, like when police turn up and that. Yeah, I think that covers that. May be unable to answer questions direct at them or speak for themselves. Yeah, well, you know, because you don't have to speak to anyone, do you? Are answers to questions inconsistent or sound rehearsed? Does someone else hold or control their documentation? You mean like the government do? If the person afraid of the authorities, are they scared of removal or what might happen to their families? No, they're scared to death of you lot because you're all a bunch of corrupt thieving bastards. Are they travelling on a last-minute booking paid for by someone else in cash? What's got to do with you, you nosy git? The person could look malnutritioned or unkempt and look and speak differently from others in their party. You mean because they've got to use food banks because they've got no money to buy food because of the corrupt judicial system, the corrupt banking system, and of course the most corrupt of all, Parliament. Yeah, I think that could cover that quite easily. Report any suspicions of modern slavery to a border force officer, safeguarding team officer or the police, who are actually the ones causing the problems in the first place. Symbolism will be their downfall. What are the odds? They must think we're stupid. Test 1. Certainty of intention. This is for trusts. Is there an intention to create a trust? Yes. Next test. No. No trust. Test 2. Certainty of subject matter. Are the assets constituting the trust determinable? Yes. Next test. No. No trust. Test 3. Certainty of objects. Are the people to whom the trustee owes a duty readily determinable? Yes. A trust. No. No trust. The three certainties needed to create a trust. What's in a glass of water? Arsenic, radioactive contaminants, pesticides, nitrates, hormones, fluorine compounds, calcium, hexavalent, chromium, lead, pharmaceutical drugs, aluminium, trihalomethanes, THMS. For all those people thinking they are wise by drinking 2 litres. Unless, of course, it's distilled, in which case all contaminants removed, add a bit of pink Himalayan salt to it, and you've got 80 odd minerals and vitamins added to it, so you've got the most healthy water you can get. There are 2 types of people in this world. People who think the government is looking out for their best interests, and people who think. What does your breakout mean? And it shows you the different parts of the face. Have a look at the picture, and if you've got a breakout on anywhere there, it's telling you what part of your body needs some assistance. People who use food banks typically do so not because of poverty, but because they have an occasional cash flow problem. Dominic Raab, self-servitive. Kids are their drug. Adrenochrome, an immortality serum obtained from the adrenaline gland of living children after they have been terrorized to get the highest levels of adrenaline. It has LSD-like quantities and is used in satanic rituals by monarchs, politicians, congressmen, celebrities, CEOs and the elite. Kids are their drug. What would you like for Christmas? A Porsche 911. Be realistic. Brexit completed. What colour Porsche? Welcome to 2019. Our phones are wireless. Our cooking is fireless. Our cars are keyless. Our food is fatless. Our dresses are sleeveless. Our relationships are meaningless. Our attitudes are careless. Our feelings are heartless. Our babies are fatherless. Our children are mannerless, our education is valueless, our youth are jobless, our leaders are shameless, our politicians are worthless, our government is clueless, and we are speechless. We want state to pay our hotel bills. Pat Breen, Paul Kehoe, Michael Darcy, Jim Daly, Patrick O'Donovan, Sean Keane, Kieran Cannon, David Stanton. Fine Gael's greedy 8 junior ministers. Shut your mouth. I'm not just older than you, I'm older than your state. From Jerusalem yesterday. Of concern to all, a tree is worth $193,250 according to Professor T.M. Das of the University of Calcutta. A tree living for 50 years will generate $31,250 worth of oxygen, provide $62,000 worth of air pollution control, control soil erosion and increase soil fertility to the tune of $31,250, recycle $37,500 worth of water and provide a home for animals worth $31,250. This figure does not include the value of fruits, lumber or beauty derived from trees. Just another sensible reason to take care of our forests. From Update Forestry, Michigan State University, the value of a tree. Save our Mother Earth. Claims cell towers across the USA are broadcasting brain resonance frequencies to disrupt human minds, says former DARPA scientist. And of course, if they're doing it in the US, they're doing it here. Natural News. A former DARPA scientist who helped a top secret clearance was warned that transmissions from cell phone towers constitute a terrorist act against the civilian population. Dr. Paul Pacho holds a PhD from Princeton University and spent nearly 3 years working for DARPA at the Los Angeles National Laboratory in the field of computers and physics. DARPA is in the branch of Department of Defence responsible for studying emerging military technologies. Still think that for phone's worth it? Brexit blocker. Lord Heseltine pocketing £90,000 a year in EU land subsidies. Lord Heseltine, among the Tory wreckers of the House of Lords repeatedly voting against Brexit, is reportedly pocketing £90,000 a year in EU land subsidies. The former Deputy Prime Minister, one of Britain's wealthiest men, is one of many unelected peers defying the referendum result while receiving substantial payouts. So, can you see that they're doing it because they're all bought and paid prostitutes? All of them. We are never leaving the EU. We might get a piece of paper that says we've left, but we will never have left. VAT, as long as VAT is still there, we're still in Europe. You've heard it before, but the 3 ancient pyramids discovered in Antarctica are being explored. A video. Back in 2012, a team of European and American experts discovered 3 pyramids in Antarctica. Scientists wanted to approach the pyramids and enter inside them in order to see if they were natural or artificial constructions, but the base lost contact with them. According to Piri Reis, not so long ago, Antarctica was a great continent. Rees even designed a map of how Antarctica would have looked like. And even though many specialists authenticated it, most archaeologists still reject it. Why is this? Maybe because the map alters the pre-establishment notions of our history. Smart meters responsible for tidal wave of mysterious illnesses. In recent years, there have been increasing reports that smart meters, the digitised electrical meters that are designed to send messages, usage figures to power companies wirelessly, are causing a range of health issues among a growing portion of population where such devices are in use. In fact, notes the EMF Safety Network, a growing number of people from around the world are beginning to report health problems they believe are related to the increased amount of wireless radiation from various devices, including smart meters. Utilities claim smart meters are safe and compare them to cell phones. However, the cell phones, cell towers, Wi-Fi and other wireless devices can also affect your health. The organisation states on its website, reducing your EMF exposure can benefit your overall health and wellness. The group also notes that the World Health Organization has classified radiation as a 2B carcinogen, and based on that declaration on studies that have linked cell phone and radiation to brain tumours. Vast list of symptoms. As noted by cancer.org, here is how devices work. Smart meters talk to their central system using RF transmissions based on cell phones, pages, satellite, radio power lines, Wi-Fi and internet communication method. Internet and cell phone applications have become the preferred option because of their flexibility and ease of deployment. Cancer.org notes further that smart meters are typically installed outside homes and places of business to measure electricity, water and gas usage. How much RF energy people are exposed to depends on how far they are from the antenna that transmits the signal. The powerful and frequency of the RF signal emitted from smart meters are similar to those of a typical cell phone, cordless phone or residential Wi-Fi router. These meters typically send and receive short messages about 1% of the time. Child killer who strangled a 5-year-old girl to death before molesting her body and dumping it on a riverbank is quietly released into the community. Strange how they're saying they're going to stop the release of these ones and yet they're letting them out still. Tim Kosowski killed Chloe Hodson while she played in his caravan in 2003. He interfered with her body, put her in a duffel bag and dumped her at a river. He spent the last 15 years at Morisset Hospital's forensic psychiatry ward, but last month Kowalski was quietly released back into the community. A child killer who strangled a 5-year-old girl to death before molesting her body is back on the streets after being released from a psych ward. Tim Kozlowski killed Chloe Howson when she came to his caravan in Lasley, Sydney, to play with his cat in 2003 in a crime that shocked the nation. He then interfered with her body, put her in a duffel bag and carried her to a riverbank where he dumped her. Kozlowski confessed to the crime but avoided jail after a conviction after being ruled mentally ill by 2 medics. He instead spent the last 15 years in Morisset's Hospital forensic psychiatric ward. New technique uses ultrasound to kill prostate cancer with no surgery and 80% success rate. After treatment, 65% of men in the study had no signs of cancer after 1 year. I've been saying all along there are many natural and maybe this type of cures for cancer, but they don't want to cure cancer because it's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. Doctors have used ultrasound to successfully treat prostate cancer in a new study promising a new alternative to surgery. Prostate is the second most deadly type of cancer in men, with lung cancer the only variant to claim more lives. Treatment is challenging because surgery and radiation can leave men incontinent or impotent. However, a pioneering new technique avoids the risk by using a rod-shaped device inserted into the urethra while guided by magnetic resonance to administer precise bursts of ultrasound. The sound waves heat and destroy the tumour, leaving surrounding areas unharmed. World's first human composting site to open. Process saves metric ton of CO2 while using an eighth of energy devoted to crematorium. Firm behind funeral home says. Yeah, they want to compost your dead body now. Albeit it's good for the environment. How about just burying your body and putting a tree on top of it? That's good for the environment too, and a way better. The world's first funeral home dedicated to composting human beings is set up to open in 2021, allowing those left behind to turn their dearly departed into soil. US death care company Recompose will be able to turn the deceased into a cubic yard of soil over a period of as little as 30 days, using 1/8 of the energy of a crematorium and saving as much as a metric ton of carbon dioxide from being produced compared to other forms of burial. But let's not forget, the trees, the plants, they feed off carbon dioxide, so this is a bad idea. The firm's first site in Seattle, Washington will be able to hold 75 people at a time. The project was given to a green light by Washington state legislators who voted to allow the style of burial known as natural organic reduction earlier this year, the first US state to explicitly do so. Hungary destroys all Monsanto GMO cornfields. Hungary has taken a bold stand against biotech giant Monsanto and genetic modification by destroying 1,000 acres of maize found to have been grown with genetically modified seeds, according to Hungarian Department of State for Secrecy of the Ministry of Rural Development, Laszpogna. Unlike many European Union countries, Hungary is a nation where genetically modified GM seeds are banned. In a similar stance against GM ingredients, Peru has also passed a 10-year ban on GM foods. Almost 1,000 acres of maize found to have been ground with genetically modified seeds have been destroyed throughout Hungary. Deputy State Secretary of the Military of Rural Development, Lajos Bogner, said the GMO maize has been ploughed under, said Lajos Bogner, but pollen has not spread from the maize, he added. Breaking. Lynda Thayer released from French prison in landmark ruling on W, signed by Prosecutor, found illegal. Neelu reports on global corporate implications in GcMAF cancer and autism cure. Lynda Thayer, biochemist and GcMAF healthcare scientist who has helped heal hundreds, yet wrongfully prosecuted by the MHRA, Medicines and Health Regulatory Association. We need to do away with them as soon as possible. And extradited from the UK to France under an unlawful warrant, while being medically deemed unfit for travel, was released this morning at 11:35 a.m. from French prison Fleury-Méganosis, where she had held a long hunger strike and been deemed vulnerable. After 2 suicide attempts, she is now in the safe company of friends and her attorney from the NHF, the National Health Federation. This shows you we're having a massive impact. McKenzie friends must be banned because courts are being overrun by untrained advocates, senior politicians say. It's because we're winning too often. That's why. Nothing to do with the bullshit they've come out with. A new breed of unilateral legal advocates who are ripping off the public with flawed and dangerous legal advice should be banned. Lawyers, leaders and politicians have urged ministers. The Bar Council, Law Society and head of the Commons Justice Committee are alarmed by cases where unregulated and uninsured advocates known as McKenzie friends have left vulnerable clients out of pocket or even led them into breaking the law through their actions. But in actual fact, it's because they've been winning and they don't want us winning against their corrupt system. That was dated December 8th, 2019. Hospital fracas after photo of boy patients floors PM. Johnson threatens BBC with end of the licence fee. Yeah, right. Paul Mason, muddled thinking about the North. Yasmin Brown, fragmented ethnic minority vote could be decisive. Mark Wallace, Brexit gives power back to the people. There is no Brexit, you lying bastard. Another 2019 voting guide. Make sure you do it right this time, otherwise they'll just have another vote. No sign of life. I'll come back to that. He fought for our freedom and won. Tributes to Battle of Britain pilot Maurice Monsden, who signs off at 101. Didn't realise he was fighting for the bankers' wars though, did he? Cruise ship guests among the dead as volcano explodes beneath them. No survivors left after tourists helped critically injured to escape by boat. We turned back and grabbed at those people waiting on the pier. Safety warning ignored for years as New Zealand's most active volcano. Metro, fears for Brits on Volcano Island. War over boy on A&E floor. Election battle heats up as PM pockets phone when asked to view photos. In other words, didn't want to see it because he knows about it anyway. And he doesn't give a shit. None of them do. Mirror. Tories are A&E bed shame. Here's another picture you won't want to look at, Mr. Johnson. The Guardian. Tories accused of lying to distract from image of boy on hospital floor. Corbyn, I'm confident of election tactics. 5 dead, 8 missing after volcano erupts. The Times. BBC licence fee could be scrapped, says Johnson. It should be. British tourists injured after volcano erupts. Holidaymakers in hospital after disaster on New Zealand's island kills at least 5. 3 classes on rail. There should be only 1 class. Mother killed in street. Russia doping ban. Bloomberg's ad spree. Rivals bid for Just Eat. May's dilemma. Daily Fail. Boris, I might axe TV licence. PM hints BBC could face major funding shake-up. Mountain of death erupted. They'll never do it. Express. Fears for British tourists in Volcania. Downing Street reveals plan to replace £154.50 fee with monthly subscription. Boris threat to axe BBC TV licence. Nobody subscribe, nobody with half a brain anyway, because why would you pay to be indoctrinated by the propaganda machine? Telegraph. The moment an island erupted. Corbyn could win without gaining a seat. Tory memo warns that tactical voting in just 12 constituents could oust Johnson from Downing Street. Shame, hey? None of them should be in, because they're all corrupt, they're all bought and paid for, they're all in it for themselves, and nothing ever works for us because of these corrupt bastards. Rip off hospital parking charges took 250 million. The scum. Brick killed in volcano. Exclusive. Sugar election call. You're fired, Corbyn. Ex-Labour peer says vote Tory. Waste of paper. Jungle exclusive. I can't wait to get back to a boring life. Leslie, I lost Kira to tout pout. Costa, your bus rampage. Police pet warning. Scourge of the Christmas dog nappers. FT. Former Fed chairman Volker dies. Well, he's in hell then, if there is such a place, which of course there isn't, unfortunately, because there's a lot that should go there. Oil boom star Tullow plunges 70% after cut to output forecast. Chief exploration head depart. Divided cut, credibility of projection queried. Hospital boys photo trips up Johnson as campaign enters final straight. Just realised that these little bumps on the steering wheel are in braille so that blind drivers have no trouble finding the horn to alert other drivers when necessary. I just watched a film where a man's wife is brutally murdered by a serial killer and his son is left physically disabled. In a twisted turn of events, his son is kidnapped and he has to chase the kidnapper thousands of miles with the help of a mentally disabled woman. Huh? What was what was it called? Finding Nemo. Wow, that guy in the skinny jeans looks super manly. Said no one ever.